Hey, I'm Pepper Hagebak with the Azalea Storytelling Committee, and I am here to tell you a story this evening. Way back in my salad days, I had a job that a lot of people get. I delivered pizzas. Now, it was fun. I had all the pizza I could eat. The tips were good. I had lots of friends that I worked with, and just getting out every day and driving around and delivering people's food was a lot of fun until the day that the nursing home called. They ordered 3 pies, and I had a thing. I was kind of scared to go to the nursing home, but wouldn't you know it, it was my turn to drive, and so I had to get in my little car and drive over there. It was a new nursing home, and it had several floors. And I walked into the lobby, and I knew I had to go to the 3rd floor. And I didn't want to climb the stairs. Back in those days, it was a rule. If your pizza was more than 30 minutes old when it got to the customer, they got it for free. And I was already running a little tight. So I decided to use the elevator. And so I ran over to the elevator, and I pushed the open button, and I jumped inside. And I had just about touched the number 3 when I heard, honey, hold that door. And I looked up, and here she came. This lovely little old lady. She was about 112, and she had her walker, and she was going about 1 step every 30 seconds. But she was doing the best she could. When she made her way over to me, and I thought, they couldn't prove anything if I just mashed the button and went. But she was so sweet. And I had a few minutes left. So I waited for her, and she clumped in, and she's like, oh, thank you, honey. That's so kind of you. And she got kind of close to me, and she was patting me, and she squeezed my arm and said, oh, you're so nice and plump. You're just so pretty. I thought, oh, she's just darling. Well, I said, what floor are you going to, ma'am? And she said, oh, I'm going to 4. And I said, oh, well, I'm going to 3, so I'll push both the buttons. And she said, oh, let me do it. I love doing this. And she pushed the button, but she pushed 2. And I said, oh my goodness, no. And so I reached over and I pushed the 3 and the 4 buttons for her. But we had to stop at 2, and I thought the door was going to open, the door was going to close, and we were going to be on our way, but no. When the door opened, I saw 2 more ladies way down at the end of the hall. Oh, Bertha, wait for us, honey, wait for us. And here they came. They didn't have walkers, but they were kind of holding on to each other and kind of walking kind of slow and very determinedly toward me. And I turned to Bertha, as I now knew her name was, and said, ma'am, I've got to go. I've got to get this pizza to the 3rd floor, or it's going to be free, and I can't have that. And she said, oh, honey, we got plenty of time. They'll be here soon. And as they advanced, so did that beautiful aroma of Cody loose powder. It smelled just like my grandma, and I was so taken by that, and so I said, okay, well, come on. Here they came. As they got closer, one of them smiled a big, beautiful grin, and she had lipstick all over her front teeth, but that was okay too. They crept, and finally they got into the elevator with me. They kind of pushed me toward the back a little bit, and I thought, uh-oh. I said, what floor are you ladies going to? Oh, we'll take care of it, honey. We'll take care of it. And they pushed the button. And then they commenced to talking to me and talking to one another, and I got real good and distracted, and when the doors opened again, we were back on the 1st floor. And I said, oh, okay, well, let's push the button for 3 and for 4 again, and get us where we all need to go. Okay, ladies? Okay, honey. They pushed the button, and we went to 2. The doors opened, and they closed. All this time, they were kind of pushing me more toward the back, and they kept patting me and talking about how sweet I was, and I began to get a little worried. Finally, the door opened on 3. And the ladies looked up, and there was another lady standing at the nurse's station there. She was beautiful. She was all dolled up. She had her face perfectly made up, and you could tell that she got around just fine. She didn't need a walker, and she stood straight and tall. She was the leader of the pack. I knew it on sight. And she looked at me back in the back of that elevator car, and she looked at her friends, and she smiled. And she looked up at the clock that was above the nurse's station, and she said, "Oh my, would you look at that? I believe these pizzas are gonna be free."